Hello.
Well, I knew that already, but.
Yeah, that's the other one.
Good, yeah, I guess you're doing. Some tomorrow. Trying to. So that's what I heard, yeah. It's just you and him working. Is that right? Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
Either tomorrow or Thursday, I'm not sure what. That's what he said.
Recording.
That me and boss, the only people working, either tomorrow or Thursday.
We got 6 o'clock. Get started with a stand for a pledge of allegiance, please. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thanks everyone for coming.
Everybody.
Jack, we're gonna jump right in with you.
Sure, I'm just gonna run down. I thought I'd just kind of give a general update. No
Yep.
reason why it can't be in public of some of the stuff we're working on. Obviously, it's not everything, but it's pretty close.
Yep.
We've talked about a change in the structure of the town clerk's office, a little more security,
Yep.
put some glass up. We're still talking about where to move stuff, how to move stuff, how to reposition people. So we haven't made an absolute decision on the windows yet or the glass,
Okay,
because it could go one place or it could go a different place, but
right,
we'll continue to look at that.
okay,
When I came in, we had some IT and some security kind of sort of issues, not that anything was wrong, but that some of the out of interest, your previous town administrator made some password changes that locked virtually everybody out of the system.
right,
Which of course doesn't help us as we're trying to post minutes, make things, get files and so forth. So we're still ironing out that, and it's not a big problem. It just takes a little time with availability.
yeah, I saw Alan last week and talked with him for quite a while here,
Yeah.
actually here, but he'd been at the town office and. so-
Right. You also have a server, so there are some system updates that haven't happened, which
Mhm.
really need to happen just because of security patches and
Yeah.
so forth. And there was also a brand new server set up and ready to go in my office that you've already bought and paid for, but nobody's ever
Yeah.
put it into service, and so we'll attend to that too.
Okay,
So again, just loosening up some loose ends
Right.
on the IT sort of
when
things.
did we buy that? Do we know?
3 years ago.
No.
It might have been.
Really?
Cause I spoke with Alan
Yeah.
before he came over and saw you. We talked for an hour or so in the office.
Everybody's kind of like, why wouldn't you just take that last step and kind of connect it?
Okay.
But I guess they last longer if you don't plug them in.
Well,
They did, we still got a brand new one.
Still got a brand new one, I think.
Maybe outdated.
But interesting, that's actually not true, but any event, so. Anyway.
yeah, that's true.
Last time we talked about 11 properties that were from a statutory point of view, subject to tax deeding.
Yep,
We've kind of redoubled our efforts on all of those, and while some of them meet the legal criteria to reject the tax deed, we have collected all of the money from everybody else.
so good.
And so that's good
Excellent.
news. Everybody
Yes.
kind of came up with the dough. There's one payment plan that's before you there.
Okay,
And you had entered into a payment plan with this individual before, and he actually complied with it.
okay,
And so, given that positive history, I thought, well, let's try to do it again and
Right.
see if he can do the same thing over the balance of the year, paying off the balance by the end of this year. So at some point you can sign that, and that will clean up
Wow.
the list
That's great.
of all of those properties.
Right.
So that's good.
Yep.
Yeah.
That is good. I will miss a couple of days here on vacation from the 18th to the 24th at this point.
Of this month?
July, yeah, July. I have arranged for your auditor to come to this meeting on August 1st.
Yep.
And to have a general discussion of what the auditor does in some level for the public's interest, to know that there are checks and balances and what the auditor's function is in terms of safeguarding the funds and the funding of the town. And
So
then
we had
general,
talked about bringing Carrie in for that meeting as well. Is that still the
Yeah.
plan? Okay.
Yeah. and then it would be customary for the board to go into non-public session with the auditor and no other staff.
Yep.
And that allows a level of candor that is really incumbent upon you as fiduciaries for the town to make sure that nothing unseemly is going on. Because remember, the auditors come in and they work with staff and they work with the town administrator. And my experience over 30 years is you meet with them privately and make sure that there's no concerns whatsoever.
Excellent.
So that'll happen.
You will be pulling me off vacation for that meeting. Just so you know.
What's that?
Will be pulling me off.
Oh,
vacation for that
no.
meeting, Just so you know.
We could,
It's all right.
we could,
No, I don't want to, no.
we could,
Carolyn's probably okay with that.
so then she'll be on vacation.
Really?
She'll have a.
Day of vacation.
Like I said, one of those IT issues kind of is interrupting our ability to access the files. We need to upload the IT minutes. All of the minutes of the board are on file in the town clerk's office. And consistent with statute, they're available for public review, copying, mailing, whatever. It's just we haven't posted them to the website yet because of that earlier issue.
Because of the IT.
Yeah,
issue,
yeah,
right?
we just
Okay.
need, I just need to reconnect staff's access to the points that they should have had access, that they used to have access to.
Sure, okay.
And IT is working on that. I did come in on Wednesday and met with the CIP committee. And talked to them about the process going forward, understanding what you've done in the past and kind of helping the committee decide perhaps a more efficient way to gather up the requests for capital purchases and work with the chairman of that committee on the Excel spreadsheets that he had developed and managed successfully for a long time, but it's great. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, Clyde puts a
So
lot of
it's-
work in.
Yeah, no, it's been great. So I've charged our new finance manager with kind of taking that, understanding those Excel spreadsheets, making it hers in order that the method that she uses to manage the spreadsheets for the capital mirror the ones for the operating budget. So obviously your budget can come together.
Yeah.
I don't think that's kind of been the process in the past. I think my sense is that,
I don't think Gloria was part of that process.
yeah. So we actually want to charge the finance manager with responsibility for the input and the management of the budget process.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, and she's all good with that. I know there's been a hiatus of department head meetings and we're gonna resume those next Tuesday, pick them up as they used to be on the last Tuesday of the month.
Well, it used to be that would be going back almost a year.
Oh, really? Okay, so it's been
Still here,
a while. Yeah, I'm certainly finding that many employees have been lacking a fair amount of attention and they just need to talk and I need to understand. So it's been good. So I spent a lot of time on that, but it's all good. It's all good. It's all
It's
good
needed.
stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
get everybody on the same page.
I know we had a conversation earlier today about some of the box elder bugs that appear to be trying to pay their taxes early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The town hall,
Yeah.
register their bug mobiles. And
indeed.
JP Pest was there this afternoon.
Okay,
And I have communicated with the cooperative extension about them. And they're actually in the process of exiting the building because they're going to the elder trees that are actually on both sides of town hall.
oh, no.
That's where they like to live in the summer. And the town hall is their winter home.
Mhm.
And so the advice is let them leave the building. And
Sure.
then go about the business of treating the perimeter with something
And
that will
that
keep.
was JP's.
Yeah.
Recommendation as well. I know it was cooperatives. but
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, he was in perfect agreement with that.
Okay.
And they also went out to the meeting house to do an inspection for carpenter ants. The same concept. They like to live there in the winter and come out in the summer. So he'll do an inspection. And I'll get some sort of report. And we'll take some sort of action as necessary for that.
Okay.
I sent a letter this afternoon to Department of Transportation to try to finagle some emergency disaster funding for the Potato Road Bridge.
Or Potato Road Bridge? or-
Yeah,
or-
it's one that's is it on the same area as the transfer bridge? Is it downstream of that a bit?
It is downstream of
Yeah.
that, but
So, working with your engineers, apparently that bridge is somewhat subject to flooding
okay.
when
yeah.
the upper one does. And there apparently is some emergency funding that might be available to do something to mitigate the flooding of Potato Road Bridge.
Oh.
So if we can get that money, that's a win.
Excellent.
So
And do we know if the state's come out and looked at Gristmill Hill Bridge, speaking of bridges?
we do not,
Okay,
I mean, they haven't.
yeah, they have
Yeah.
not come, okay,
What is clear, though, is we would be doing the repair to that basketball-sized hole that's developed there, which is currently covered by a steel
steel
plate.
plate, that's,
And I've talked to our engineer to help design a patch that our people can
actually installed.
make that will perhaps hold up
Okay,
a little better. So all those things are in the works.
okay,
But it'll be a little while. I have really kind of three non-publics to talk about in terms of personnel. One, I need to come back and have a little discussion about the town administrator vacancy.
Yep.
The administrative assistant position. And one, just to report out a conversation with our attorney, because as you know, there's three appeals that he's working on,
Right.
so I
Okay.
just want to give that update in non-public
Okay.
session.
and are you aware if we've got the July 5th assessor coming in meetings? Is
We
that-
do,
Okay.
that's right, we have
Okay.
your assessor to come in on July 5th,
Fifth.
and
Good,
hopefully
so
he'll have a
good
nice
process.
public discussion so that people can understand how he goes about the business of making those property valuations.
Yeah.
And you can query him on
Yeah.
maybe a couple of disparate properties where you can't quite see why he came up with one value or another, and just see where it goes.
I think it would be valuable to have Ashley here for that meeting as well, so.
Okay.
All right.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, I do too. Good call.
Subject to anything I might have forgotten or anything else, that's really all my report for the moment.
Great,
Thank you. Sounds good. We're moving in the right
so do you need a motion on this from us? And
Well, you could,
I mean, we've already-
you could do a motion and the two of you could sign that
Yep.
agreement that allows that taxpayer to make payments on his arrearage coming current with what's due by the end of this year.
Okay.
And you can see the prior agreement is there, this agreement is there, so.
Honestly, I just assume if we
I
can,
wasn't-
I mean, yeah, I want to read it over a bit. So,
Yeah, there's nothing urgent that can go in the reading file later.
Okay.
It's,
Doesn't have to.
Doesn't have to
be
be.
tonight.
no, not at all.
But before you get
No, no.
non-public, so we'll move all that to non-public after this meeting.
Yeah.
rest of it, so.
Right.
I would
And-
like to, under other business, like to acknowledge our police department, Ryan. They have body cameras and car cameras.
Mhm.
And one of the local towns was getting rid of a lot of equipment because they switched the style they were using, and it's about $900 a police officer to outfit cameras with them
Per year.
and per unit. And Ryan was able to procure, this town was basically gonna throw them away.
Mhm.
And I'm not gonna mention the town, but
Nope.
it was Ryan probably picked up about between $30,000 and $60,000 worth of equipment for
Yeah.
free for us, so.
He told me somewhere around 40 grand.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
just hats off, Ryan,
Yeah.
like everybody that works for the town, but I mean, we're very grateful to the associates in town that really go above and beyond. John, I know you're gonna talk in a minute.
Yeah.
But Ryan's saved us money in a lot of ways. In the short term, he's been chief, and I just want to acknowledge that, so.
Really has.
So,
I can certainly echo that every department head that I have met with and talked with, they're so diligent about being very careful about how they spend money and why.
I would agree.
We've got a good team of people in town
Yeah.
right now. It really is. So, yeah, it's nice.
John, you want to go with?
Sure, I can. The firefighters association has, been able to secure funding to, purchase a, enclosed trailer for our UTVs. So we're looking to, for the board's approval, we want to donate that to the town. Be kept at the station, be used for the UTV. It doesn't, we'll outfit it, eventually over a period of time, but at least for now. We've got a basic trailer, it's enclosed, and we'll be able to keep the UTV in there.
Nice.
So, yeah,
Thank you guys.
yeah.
For working hard.
And I've got a letter, the proposal here, if you guys
Okay.
wanna sign that and look at it, or.
Yep,
You know,
I'll review it, sure,
Yep.
yeah.
I can pass it up to you, and then you guys have it to look at, so.
Awesome, thank you, guys. I know that stuff doesn't just fall into your lap, you go out and you find it. So with all the other stuff you got going on, that's a perfect example of what we're talking, so.
And guys checked out that trailer and stuff too, and we made suggestions on what we should do to it and how we ordered it, so.
Nice.
So the town, where it was gonna become a piece of town property.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Town mechanic.
This is the used trailer?
No,
Oh,
brand new.
oh, right, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
We just upgraded the axles
We
on it.
upgraded the axles, put some tie downs.
So-
And we'll
Yeah.
look at doing some Linex coating on the inside of it, so. when we do that.
Eventually, yeah,
Yeah.
we'll get that done, yeah, we get it, so.
awesome, thank you,
Great.
guys, very much.
Yep.
Yeah,
We have a motion to accept that.
yeah, I would put a motion to accept the.
I'll
the
second,
funds.
all in
Yeah.
favor?
Aye,
Aye,
Thank you.
yeah, thank
thank
you.
you, guys, yeah, yeah, from the Burn Foundation, huh? Nice.
Solar exemption denial appeal, is that, Mike, are you talking to that, or?
Chris and I
Chris?
don't, not here in a legal capacity, I think it's friend of Chris's. But I'll try to tackle it if I can stand, because I can't. You'll over the table at the moment. I think everybody knows that the warrant article passed for the solar exemption. And frankly, there were only 5 people, I think, somewhere in that number. People who had a tax credit. We didn't have an exemption before. And I don't know how many people out of the 5 actually applied for the exemption. Chris, feel free to weigh in on this. But Chris thought it was an automatic thing because she already had the tax credit. And the chapter of the law covers both credits and exemptions. So she thought that she was all set when she got the tax bill. Discovered she didn't have the exemption. So she went in and asked, and she was told, well, you gotta do it by the 15th, which is true. And this is a copy of the law. I'll give you a couple of copies. So I made some, I gotta get rid of them, so I'm gonna have to take them home. So at the top, you'll see it covers both exemptions and credits. The warrant article passed strong warning, it had a good vote. Which amazed me frankly, because it has not passed, several tries before. But credits to the people that worded it, it came out good. And the public approved it. So, did Chris do something wrong? Yeah, she didn't file the application on the 15th. I want you to think about the time. Warrant article passed on 14th of March. Okay. So you gotta know about it, what the rules were. And she only had less than 30 days to do that. Okay. Well, it's easy to say, well, tough nuggies, you didn't get it done. But in this law, it's not been on the book forever. Says if any person otherwise qualified to receive an exemption or credit shall satisfy the selectmen or assessors that he or she was prevented by accident, mistake, or misfortune. I don't think you've had a misfortune, have you? Okay, so accident or mistake. From filing a permanent application or amended application. On or before April 15th. In which in the year that she desires the exemption. The officials may receive the application and grant an exemption. It's discretion, you can do what you want. I think it would send a very good message to the public. That A, the warrant article passed. B, she thought she had it because she already had the tax credit. C, nobody reached out to the community to tell them that they could apply for the exemption. D, it doesn't impact the town If she'd gotten there on the 15th, the exemption would have been applied. She didn't. She's gonna get it next year. It's an automatic. The stuff is there. It doesn't impact anybody at all because it's the applications before the tax rate is set in November. So I personally, I worked with John Dow for years. And I couldn't ask for a nicer guy to work with, who was dedicated, he worked his ass off constantly for this community. He got some recognition when he died, but really. Part of this thing is, if it's a sense of community, you gotta look out for each other. So Chris came in and talked to me and said, well, I'm gonna try to make a pitch, and I'm doing it. As humbly as I possibly can. I'm asking you to think about. I'm old, I'm Ray, and in the way as Bill Wilson would say. Chris is old, and no offense. And I would ask you to consider it and give her the right to accept the application. It is not going to impact you. It shows that you understand that there's only 30 days available. She didn't do it on purpose. It was purely an accident. He thought that she was all set. You have the right to do it. It's in the law. We've done it in the past historically in this town as long as I was here. And it happened for elderly people who didn't realize that they had an elderly exemption. And they would come in, and the rule was, as long as we got it done before the 1st of July, we didn't care as a town. And that's the way it has worked for decades in this town, that if there was somebody had failed because of mistake or accident or whatever, the board granted the waiver and allowed them to file for the application. She still has to meet all the criteria. It's pretty straightforward. She's got the solar arrays. So I would ask you that you reconsider the decision to deny it and give her the right to submit the request and approve the request. That's it. Thank you.
Okay. For the record, I think we had 4 people apply for on time, the exemption. Go ahead, sorry.
We're one of those 4
Yep.
people who applied on time, but even though we were involved in putting out the warrant article, we didn't know if we had to apply or not. We weren't sure if it just was automatic, the way Chris thought it was. So I called the assessor's office, and that's how I found out that we didn't have a lot of time to submit the application. But I think we did it a couple of weeks ahead of April 15. And I was thinking, because we didn't know about this, I had a feeling most people wouldn't. Because of the information as we mentioned to the public, that you needed to file an application to get the exemption. And I personally called Ned, the former town administrator, a couple of weeks before April 15, and asked him to put that information into the bulletin that goes to out by email. And he said he needed to check with the select board. And I didn't see it in that week's town bulletin, so I called him again. And at that time, I wasn't able to speak directly with him, but I left a message saying, please put it in so people would have time to get their application in. So I just wanted to say that, because I also think on top of what Mike and Chris are asking for, I'm asking for the town to put that information out there so people will know about it.
Well, it is public knowledge, and this is not personal, Chris. I know what your family has done for this town, and I appreciate it. But we get a lot of exemptions and requests for abatements. And they, if we don't keep it to the dates and the rules that are in there, it makes it very difficult to jump through hoops every time somebody's late or not. So the board will reconsider it, and Sadie's not here as well, so she needs to weigh in as well. But again, my gut feeling is it's not a lot of money. In reality, either way, as Mike said, it's not going to break the town, but it's keeping the flow of when those things have to be in and done by. So that's my read on it. So yeah, Mike.
Yeah, just a quick comment. Before my time, Paul was here. I had the same practices in place. I just followed the practice when I was here. The law is in there for a reason if there's a mistake, because this is life and death for many people. They're elderly or handicapped or whatever. And it does allow you that discretion, and we have done it I would say we do it at least once or twice a year in the past. We've had people go through welfare, for instance, in order to work out a deal. We had to give a waiver for this rule on many occasions in May. So I don't think it's anything that would be terribly difficult to do. You get the application, does she have the solar arrays? Yes, no, and then it gets applied. So I don't really think it's a big deal, and I think it's important to somebody that was hoping to get that tax exemption. So I'd ask you to not do it just based on that it's not the usual thing. But remember that the law does allow you to do it, number one. A lot of people use that law to do it. Too. And, you know, there's been a history of doing it for elderly, handicapped, pretty much with the whole gamut of people that qualify for exceptions. So that's all I can say. I have to think about it. Look at it from a human point of view.
Okay. Anything else on that? Chris, do you want to say anything or?
Thank you for considering that, and as I read it on there, it's up to the selectmen to make the decision.
Mhm.
One hand washes the other, and thank you for thinking and
Okay,
considering this.
great. Thanks, Chris. Anything else under other business?
Back to the meeting house next
Yeah.
month in August.
No, we've decided to continue meetings here. Meeting house is very difficult from a sound respect and from Zoom, so. Like it or not, we're gonna stay down here, tradition notwithstanding, so we did consider it, but.
Hey, this is Roger.
About the solar thing, are you gonna give them some deadline when you're gonna talk to Sadie, maybe you can get back to?
We'll talk about it at our next meeting when she's here, so.
When is the next meeting scheduled? It's July 4th.
With that, need a motion to go to non-public.
I'll make a motion to go into non-public, please.
All in favor or seconded? All in favor? Aye. Thank you, everybody, for coming.
Thank you, guys. Smooth, quick, smooth, but informative. Any of those meetings yet?
Yeah, 27. Yeah, 27.